Good afternoon, children. We have to start now second chapter in political science. The name of lesson is Understanding Secularism. Children, imagine yourself that you are a Hindu or a Muslim boy or girl living in US, citizen of America, where Christian fundamentalism is very strong. And suppose, despite of being a citizen of America, no one is willing to rent their house to you. How would this make you feel? It's very resentful. Yes or no? And if you decided to complain against this discrimination and were told to go back to India, how it will feel to you? Certainly, it will make you very angry, and your anger could take two forms. First, you might react by saying that Christians should get the same treatment in the places where Hindus and Muslims are in majority. This is the first way that you can express your anger, and it's a form of retaliation. Or you might take the view that there should be justice for all. You may fight, stating that no one should be discriminated against on the grounds of their religious practices and beliefs. So, all this kind of religious discrimination should be ended. And this is the essence of secularism. Then, children, we know that in history, which provides us many examples of discrimination based on religion, religious beliefs, culture. Say, for example, we have read about how Jews were persecuted in Hitler's Germany, how several millions were killed. We know that Hitler killed several millions of the Jew people in Germany, and a Jewish state of Israel treats its own Muslim and Christian minorities quite badly. We have read it. Another one example in Saudi Arabia, where non-Muslims are not allowed to build a temple, church, etc., and nor can they gather in public places for prayers. So all these examples where members of one religion community either persecute or discriminate against members of other religious communities. These acts of discrimination takes place more easily when one religion is given official recognition by the state at the expense of other religions. And clearly, no one would wish to be discriminated against because of their religion not dominated by another religion. So in India, can the state discriminate against citizens on the grounds of their religion? Answer is no, because India is a secular country where all the religions are treated equally as per the constitution of our country. All religions are equal before the law. Everybody or every religious person can implement, can spread the thoughts of their religion, and they have complete freedom. So in India we have secularism. So what is secularism? See, the Indian constitution allows individuals the freedom to live by their religious beliefs and practices as they interpret these. they are they are completely free to follow their religious practices, their beliefs. They can propagate the ideas of their religion. All we people are completely free as per our constitution. And in keeping with this idea of religious freedom for all, India also adopted a strategy of separating the power of religion and the power of the state. Power of religion and the power of the state completely different. And the secularism refers to the separation of religion from the state. Religion, power of religion is completely different than the power of the state in the country like India. Next point, boys. Why is it important to separate religion from the state? See, most of the countries, the world, we can say, in each country there are more than one religious people who are living, and in these countries, if suppose majority group, if it gets power, this majority religious group, if it gets power in the hand, political power, then it could quite easily use this power and financial resources to discriminate against and persuade persons of other religions. Yes or no? If these majority religious people, they get the power in their hand, definitely they sometime it is possible that in the some countries we have seen that they might discriminate other religious people. We have seen these examples I have given you. Take example Saudi Arabia, in Germany, in Israel, everywhere. And this tyranny of the majority could result in the discrimination, coercion, and at times even the killings of the religious minorities. Minority people are killed. The majority could quite easily prevent minorities from practicing their religions. So, sometime it also happens that majority religious people, they do not allow the minorities religious people, they don't allow practicing their religion or religious beliefs. This can also happen, and therefore this tyranny of the majority and a violation of the fundamental rights that can result is one reason why it is important to separate the state and the religion in democratic societies. Children, there is another reason why it is necessary to separate religion from the state. It's also because we need to protect the freedom of individual to exit from their religion, embrace embrace another religion, or have the freedom to interpret religious teachings differently. Suppose somebody wants to leave a particular religion and wants to embrace another one religion, then our country, our constitution allows such person to adopt any other religion. It protects that particular person. We can embrace any religion that we want to adopt. So this is the importance of secularism in our country. One example I'll give. Suppose it's a practice of untouchability. Children, you might feel that you dislike this practice within Hinduism, and therefore you want to try and reform it. Yes or no? But if the state power were in the hands of those Hindus who support untouchability, then children, you tell me, do you think that you would have an easy task to try and change this? Even if you were a part of the dominant religious group, you might face a lot of resistance from fellow members of your your we can say community. And these members who have control of state power might say that there is only one interpretation of Hinduism, and that you do not have the freedom to interpret this differently. I hope you understood this one example.